with the Wyndham Championship in a couple weeks, you might have golf on the brain and be making plans to play a few holes yourself. Before you head out and start swinging that club, there are a few things you need to keep in mind. Here to talk all about it is Dr. Mark Cairns with Cone Health OrthoCare. To start, is stretching before you tee off necessary?
I think you can look at it from a couple of different perspectives. I do think that you get some benefit from stretching out before you hit the links. I think for one, it can help prevent some injuries, loosening up the muscles, allowing you to swing a little bit more freely, and perhaps just as important is it can help your game overall. If you rush to the course and get on the first tee deck, you have a tendency to be three off the tee and start your day off the wrong way. So loosening up with some stretching. I like to get there a little bit early, swing the club a little bit. That helps to loosen up. And it also allows you to start with some of the lower clubs, so you're not swinging quite as hard before you try and tee the ball up on that first hole and really let it rip.
Gotcha. And talk some more about what could happen if you go out there and start swinging without warming up or stretching.
Again, I think that it can make you a little bit more likely to get stiff, injure yourself, injure some muscles. It can make the day a little bit tougher if the back stays tight, for example, or your shoulders start to ache a little bit. Stretching it out will loosen things up, allow you to swing a little bit more freely, help prevent some injuries. And not all injuries are severe, but again, it might make the day a little bit longer, might make it harder to maybe play another round the next day.
Are there exercises that target the muscles used most often in golf that golfers should be doing as part of their training exercise routine?
I think any strengthening and general conditioning will be helpful. I think some of the targeted muscle groups you might want to consider is definitely the core, the abdominals and the low back. A lot of power is generated from there, a lot of rotational power, definitely a lot of torque with the swing. You need a strong base, so general strength in the legs. That will also help you as you move on through the different holes, whether you're walking or driving. And then having some flexibility and strength in the arms and the shoulders. Once again, it'll help with the endurance as you're continuing on throughout the course, but also help generate a lot more power and strength when you're hitting the ball.
Okay. Can you kind of describe the exercises if you could, like just give some examples of what you mean?
Yeah, so nothing specific. I think if you're going to try and target some strengthening, the core, for example, so some general abdominal muscles, general strengthening of the shoulders. One thing that I would recommend if you are committing to a strength program, getting ready to play some golf is, and try to incorporate some rotational activities, maybe some medicine ball tosses, something along those lines, because there's a lot of rotational movements. It's not pushing or pulling in one plane. You're going to be rotating through the hips, through the back, through the shoulders. And so trying to incorporate some strengthening, whether it's, like I said, with a medicine ball toss or perhaps some exercise bands, just to get those muscles not just moving forward and back, but more in a rotational manner.
Yeah, good stuff there. Thank you. And what advice do you have for preventing injuries related to your golf swing?
Certainly preparation. So we've already talked about the strengthening, general conditioning, loosening up before you play. I think those can all play a role. Some other things too, just in general, when you're approaching the ball, you're about to take a swing, you want to make sure you've got a stable base. You got to stay within the rules of golf, but you want to make sure that you've got a nice, stable stance. You've got good footing, so you're not slipping when you're swinging. That can make a big difference. Paying attention to the where the ball is resting. If it's on a firm surface, being aware of that as you're swinging the ball. If it's on a loose surface, once again, kind of paying attention to that. These are all things that can help you prevent it. And I think another key factor is understanding your game. Depending on which club you've got in your hand. If you're 200 yards from the hole and you've got a club and you routinely hit it 180, you don't necessarily want to try and overswing that club because, for one, it may lead to a bad shot. But overswinging, it could really affect, some of the muscles you're trying to prevent. You could end up hurting yourself in the process.
Okay. If you do play several holes of golf and feel it later, what should you do? We have about 30 seconds.
Yeah, simple things you can do. Ice when you get home. The next time you go play, maybe a little bit of heat to loosen up those muscles. Some over-the-counter medications if you feel like you need that. And there are a lot of topical treatments that are available in the pharmacy: creams, sprays, patches that can kind of help you loosen up and maybe prevent some of those aches and pains the next time you go out.
What are some do's and don'ts that people may not have thought about when it comes to being on the golf course that, of course, could result in those injuries?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, golf is a great game. You want to enjoy yourself. You don't have to be a great golfer to enjoy it, but you should take care when you're going to the golf course. We talked about some things earlier. Make sure you're prepared. Make sure you get there in plenty of time. Make sure you stay within yourself, knowing what type of golfer you are. Not trying to do too much. Um, be aware of your golf bag, for example, and understanding what's in your golf bag can make for a long round if it's very heavy and there's lots of unnecessary items in there. That can make things a little bit harder for you as the day wears on. In terms of what not to do, just be careful. Respect the course. Don't try and do too much. We talked about over swinging a little bit before. Um, just be careful. Make sure that you're prepared and you're loosening up. You don't want to start out too quickly. Making some big swings right off the bat can certainly lead to injuries before you have a chance to really get onto the course and enjoy yourself. And just enjoy being out there with friends or family, whoever you're playing with.
And of course, it is summer, so the heat is a concern when playing golf or as a spectator this time of year. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, the temperatures right now, they're certainly very hot. And one thing that you may lose sight of on a golf course, unless you're spending a lot of time in the woods, but it's very wide open. So you're going to be in the sun almost exclusively. So you need to make sure you're drinking a lot of water. It's not uncommon to enjoy yourself, but I would recommend you don't indulge too much when you're on the course. Most courses are very good about providing fresh water, so take a jug with you. Make sure that if you get a chance to step out of the sun, you're doing that. But I can't say it enough. You got to make sure that you're protecting yourself, drinking water. Obviously, it can affect your game, can affect your health overall. But there are some health concerns too, spending a lot of time in that sun and not consuming enough water.
Absolutely. And we've talked about how to prevent injuries, but what are the health benefits of playing golf?
I think there are many. I mean, it's a very enjoyable game. I enjoy it thoroughly. Um, for one, there's a social aspect. So you're playing with other people almost all the time. Most of the time, you know the people that you're playing with, but not all the time. Um, whether you're walking or riding, I think that there's some cardiovascular benefits for those who might be a little bit concerned about walking a whole course, especially if you're spraying the ball all over the course. You might consider walking 9 holes and then maybe driving 9 holes, and there's still some benefit there. Um, the golf course is not flat, so if you're walking, you're going to be up and down hills. So you need to be careful. But there's also a great deal of benefit to walking up and down the hills. And of course, you're going to be outside. You're going to be enjoying yourself. You can get too much sun. You need to protect yourself from the sun. But there are some benefits, obviously, of being in the sun and vitamin D and making sure that you're protecting yourself.
Yeah. For someone who wants to start golfing to enjoy those health benefits and have fun, what advice do you have to get started?
Well, that's another really good thing about golf is it's never too late to start. Most courses do a very good job of promoting junior golf or taking your kids out. That's a good place to start. A lot of the golf courses have days where you can learn and test out new equipment. So really, all you have to do is contact a local golf course, and they can let you know what types of free or relatively cheap events are upcoming, and that can allow you to get your foot in the door, so to speak, and start with a round of golf. For those interested in trying to take care of themselves as they golf more, Cone Health Sagewell Health and Fitness has an upcoming program. You can get more information on Sagewell Fitness, but what it is, it's a golf stretch and strength clinic. It's going to take place on September 7th. This is a good opportunity to get out there, learn some very specific activities, very specific exercises that can improve your strength and range of motion and help prevent the pain and the injuries that we've been discussing today.
I love that. Great. Thank you so much. Remember, if you missed our conversation, you can find the entire interview on our website, WFMYnews2.com.